Okay, alrighty. Let's get this party started on a Sunday night. Sunday night. Let's see if I can tag some folks to come on in. If we get some conversations going. Let's see. Hope everybody's had a great day today. It's been an extremely busy one for me. Let's see. I gotta be careful who I tag on here. There's some people who don't want to be involved, so you definitely want to respect people's wishes. I think it's so funny that, and I guess when you do things publicly, you get all types of folks that get involved, but I understand there's a back conversation to some of the things that I talk about on the Facebook Lives. There are those who, I don't know what the problem is. They continue to, I guess they think that we're still campaigning or something. I don't know, but I don't know. There's a whole back conversation going on. It's not even worth even talking about. So let me stop right now. Finish tagging a few more people, and then we'll move on from there. Okay. I guess that's going to be enough for right now. Okay, all right. Let me pull it down. Oh, what's going on, folks? Peace, peace. Peace, my brother Brian. Folks popping on. Good to see everybody. I don't know if you can tell it in my voice. I'm still having a little bit of issues, but of course, had to get out and make some rounds today. Started off with church service this morning over at Life Community Church, where I've been fellowshipping at since meeting that community after the shooting that happened off Azalea Drive almost 2 years ago. My wife and I started fellowshipping over there in order to just to reach out to that community, to that family. The pastor was shot 5 times and his son was shot once on a Friday morning as they were rehabbing homes for veterans over off Azalea Drive, and the son died at the scene, and the father, who's my very close friend and now I actually minister at their church every now and then, but attend regularly. We are very close now, the entire family, church family and everything, just great people. Such a tragedy that happened within that house of God. Soon to be Senator Harrison. Yes, this is your year. Yes, I fully support Jamie Harrison for Senate. To everybody on here, we need to begin rallying our troops together in order to make sure that we're at the polls for the primary at the end of next month, and also come November, that we don't have any kind of mediocre voting turnouts. Okay? Oh, it's so good. It does my heart good to see so many people on. Shanalia, what's going on? And I was looking over some of the older pictures that we had from 2015 and even before then, just this evening and the other day. Man, amazing photographs. Mujahideen and all of us together, the meetings that we held, the marches that we held, and it was a golden time. It's a time that I hope that Charleston, South Carolina, the Low Country, that one, appreciates it, and two, that history will not forget the work that's been put in here in the Low Country in order to level a playing field for everyone, to make liberty and justice a reality for all. When the reality is right now, liberty and justice is not a reality for everyone. We need to take that out of that Pledge of Allegiance that we teach our children. We're actually frustrating some of them, especially those African-American children who pledge allegiance to a flag that promises with liberty and justice for all. And as they get older, they're going to find out, no, liberty and justice is not for all in America, it's for some. Unless we keep working. That's why we have to keep working. What's up, Kev? What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, powerful time, Shalalia. Kevin Holland said, keep grinding. I don't know why it's people that misunderstood my single broadcast as if I was trying to support what the Charleston County School District is doing. I will not support what the Charleston County School District is doing until everybody has a seat at the table. Not the hand-picked people, but everybody, okay? And of course, I love some of the hand-picked folks. We write like that. We just like that, for sure. But until everybody's voice is heard, nobody's voice is being heard. And those same folks are screening folks in order to have certain voices heard. Damon, we also have to make sure to let them know that they have to be registered by January 29th. That's right, to vote in the February primary. Everybody must be registered by January 29th to vote in the February primary. Please, everybody, even those that you think you're registered, double check it. Get to a computer, to the internet, go to SC Votes, VOTES.org, scvotes.org. Go under search for registration. Fill in your information there. It's only about 4 things they ask, like date of birth and whatever. And if you're registered, it's going to pop up and say where you go to vote for, who's running, where you go to vote at, who's running, and everything. But if you're not registered, it's not going to give you any information. So even if you think you're registered, if you're not, you need to re-register, and you need to re-register in order to vote in the primary. You need to be re-registered by January 29th. Thanks, Damon. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. What's up, nephew? Man, thank you so much. I'm going to talk about the event, that's for sure, while we're on tonight. Man, thank you so much for the work you're putting in with the Charleston Jewish Federation. Man, I love the way that we're crossing these different these different lines of separation that somehow historically we've all been pushed into different corners, and we've gotten this mindset that we're only in it for ourselves. When the reality is, the more we work together, the more we can accomplish together. There are forces at work now that are trying to keep us trained to think that we are separate from each other, when the reality is that it's only a black thing, or it's only a red thing, or it's only a yellow thing, or it's only a brown thing. When the reality is, or it's only a Jewish thing, or it's only a Christian thing. When the reality is, this is all of our fight. Everybody that's involved in humanity, the fight for justice is for all of us to be involved with. You can't separate or segregate yourself from the fight for justice, because if you do, eventually that injustice that we're fighting against is going to come right to your doorstep. And when you get invaded, when you get defiled by it, when you become the victim of that injustice, no matter where it is, be it from our political system or from somebody on the ground level, when you become that victim, then you're going to stop and say, man, I wish I'd have got involved sooner. So the work that you're doing, Brandon, man, it's invaluable. There's no way to say just how valuable that work is. And it was an honor for me to speak at the event tonight, for sure. And I'm so happy to see so many people jump on. Was there anyone at any of these events who felt the need to support others who never show up at any of these events? Well, Smurf. The conversation was about working together, about building together, about the cross sections, in religious cross sections, interfaith cross sections, where you had Muslims and Sikhs together with Jews and Christians together with Baha'is and everybody else, all in the same room for the same purpose, and that's to address the issue of discrimination, hate, period. Not discrimination, but hate. And just be clear about it. That's what the event was about, addressing hate. The title of it was No Hate, No Fear Solidarity Rally. So you say, was there anyone at any of these events who felt the need to support others who never show up at these events? I think that I don't really know how to answer that question, other than the fact that I know I was there. I know that Folks like Gina Mocha and Damon Fordham was there. Regina Duggins and Damon Fordham was there. I know some of the other law enforcement folks were there who are working, trying to cross those lines. Chief Reynolds and Cap Searson in the house, So I think that to reach that segment that you're talking about, Smurf, is going to require another set or another subset of people working. People that we've talked about, that you and I have talked about and others have talked about. And that's folks who are a part of that, who were a part of that never show up to any of these events, who were a part of that community, now going back to reach out to those same people who knew us in that time. And now we can reach out to talk to them about getting involved, because we have to figure out a way to get them involved. We cannot have any sideline players. This is not, the season is too crucial right now for us to have spectators in this game, okay? We don't need no spectators. I'm tired of spectators. I'm tired of people that's always running, bumping their gums, yap, 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 talking about this and talking about that. I always got time to talk about somebody else, but ain't got time to get in the streets and do nothing about anything. I'm tired of that, okay? And I hate to be at that point, but after all of these years out here grinding, and you know how long we've been grinding, Smurf, and you know how long we've been grinding, Miss B, and then a whole lot of on here know how long we've been grinding. And the same people who always got the most to say is the same people that do the least. You let that sink in a little bit. Them same folks. The event tonight, man, Brandon been grinding a long time, and he was integral in putting this event together, bringing all these faiths together to talk about hate, And of course, the emphasis, this is born out of the anti-Semitic events that have been happening recently, the rise in anti-Jewish attacks across the nation, especially in New York City, with the last attack happening on the last day of Hanukkah, in a suburb of New York, and the guy went in and slashed people up. Of course, that was what was the catalyst for it, but it still brought everybody together. It brought all of these religious groups together in the same room for a conversation, not about attacks on Jews, but attacks on people because of ethnicity or because of religion. And this conversation is crucial because we haven't been having that conversation. Everybody's been talking about it separately, and everybody's been talking about it normally after a tragedy. This wasn't a major tragedy. Any loss of life or any injury to somebody due to violence is a tragedy, but it's not a tragedy of the magnitude of 10 people killed inside of a synagogue or 9 people inside of a church. And to meet now and to plan on meeting again soon instead of being in the aftermath of something, but before something happens, I think that's a big plus for us. I think in the Low Country that we're setting the tone for what needs to be done nationally when it comes to addressing hatred and violence, and that's addressing proactively as opposed to retroactively. Something that we need to do in our communities also. Something that those same people that you're talking about, Smurf, those who never show up, need to understand that their actions when they show up are usually retroactive. Then they go back to whatever they're doing until something happens again, and then retroactively they show up. What we need to do is before anything happens, we need to get up and get involved and stop waiting on stuff to happen before we get involved. Yeah. So it's good to see so many people coming on tonight. Danielle, what's going on? Yes. Our resident victims advocate in the house. Definitely an advocate against domestic violence, right along with Butch Kennedy and so many more. And of course we always have Monica Jefferson and others, the survivors of gun violence, on board tonight. Because what we've done is over years we've given those who have lost a loved one to gun violence a platform, a way to share their grief with the world. Hopefully, in the world will hear in the pain that those that we bring to the microphone or those that we give voice to, that others will hear their pain And somehow along the way, if it comes a time for them to make a decision about picking up a gun, maybe something that they've heard in one of our conversations or from one of our survivors, it'll click in their mind. Maybe I shouldn't do this and not pick up a gun and use it. It's one of the reasons why we do what we do, for sure. Dietrich, keeping you in prayer. Abe, what's going on? I saw Demet on here too, for sure. Man, it's an honor and a privilege to speak tonight and to once again speak about your grandfather, for sure. Okay, alrighty. Well, so let's get on into this. I'm going to talk about the updates in a minute, which I've only got a couple of things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Reverend William Barber's visit tomorrow to North Charleston. I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about the coalition's rally on MLK Day. Okay, but before that, in starting out, let me first off congratulate all those in North Charleston who were sworn into City Council and the Mayor's office last Tuesday. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I am definitely happy to see that you all have, those that have once again resumed office, and anyone that's new, Jerome Hayward for, in particular, congratulations, and we're looking for great things out of you. I am going to say this, though, to the mayor and to the council, stand by, because the level of activism as far as getting the voice of the people represented by you all that swore to represent the voice of the people, that level is getting ready to increase. So just get ready, okay? And it's going to be in love. We don't want no hate. We don't want to fight. But if it's for the betterment of the people and we're talking to our council and our mayor about bettering the people, I don't care whether it's wages. Yes, we want $15 in wages. Yes, we want an effective, okay, selected by the people, Citizens Review Board, selected by the people, not by the council. Okay. Yes, we do that. But we're developing a list right now. Just to give you a heads up, we're developing the list right now, and you're just going to have a flashback until from 2015 when we come with it. But understand this: we're not coming with this as if you're the enemy. We're coming with what we come in order to build the bridge so we can work together so that the people of our community can all thrive. So I congratulate each and every one of you, and I look forward to, along with other members of the coalition and other members of our community, with working along with you and not against you. Okay? And now, for tomorrow, which the swearing in for the city of Charleston elected officials is tomorrow. Congratulations ahead of time to each and every one in Charleston, the new electees to city council, the incumbents who won, and to the re-elected Mayor Tecklenburg. Congratulations on your wins once again. And I'm looking forward to moving forward with the city of Charleston as we begin to try to work through the issues that continue to plague us in the city of Charleston. All of these areas right now, we've seen it as we cross the threshold into 2020. Guns. The shooting started at 12:01 on January 1st, 12:01 a.m. on January 1st, the shooting started. And guaranteed, if we don't get a handle on this thing now, it's going to be a long year. The funeral parlor director is going to be making all the money right along with the t-shirt makers. It's time to stop that. It's time for us to band together and do everything to end gun violence by any means necessary. Not pointing any fingers, but looking at all options that are on the table about how we can end gun violence in our community. Because until we do, nobody's safe. I don't care where you live at or who you are. I don't care where you move to or why you moved there. I don't care how much you make or how much you don't make. I don't care whether you got a big house or you're homeless. Nobody's safe until everybody's safe. And when it comes to guns, the prolific number of guns in our community is overwhelming. illegal guns in our community, the lack of responsibility for gun owners who continue to leave their guns in their car and their cars unlocked so anybody can walk up and steal that gun, the lack of responsibility from our judges that continue to release those who are caught in illegal possession of guns instead of making sure that it's not easy for them to get out on the streets. The lack of responsibility from our elected officials in the State House who refuse to pass common sense gun laws, extreme risk protection order laws, ban military assault style weapons and high capacity magazines and bump stocks because nobody needs a machine gun in their house unless you're military. All of these things together, it's time for us to start fighting for and pushing for. Now, before anybody starts that mess, I don't want that foolishness. I'm totally pro Second Amendment, okay? Your right to bear arms is your right to bear arms. But the problem is a lot of the things that we hear about in the Post and Courier and the news media, the TV news media, these shootings we're seeing as people who did not legitimately or legally go obtain a weapon. They got it from other sources. And I don't want to hear nothing from all you gun people who say, well, the bad guys are always going to get guns, okay? Yeah, as long as we don't do anything about them, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Okay, so there are things that we can do if we begin to work together. I ain't mad at y'all Second Amendment folks at all. That's your constitutional right. But there are other things that we can put in place in order to make sure that everybody's protected. Okay, so congratulations to all of those that will be sworn in the city of Charleston tomorrow. Congratulations to those who were sworn in North Charleston last Tuesday. And congratulations to the city of Charleston and the city of North Charleston. And welcome to the revolution. Because if they were just sworn in and go to do anything that they want to do without hearing from you as a community, then we deserve everything that we get. But if we're revolutionaries, then we will ensure that those people that are selected were not only of the people, but they are by the people and work for the people. That's what we are supposed to do. Okay? It's Pastor Dix. Anybody don't like it? I mean, it's tight, but it's right. All right? Y'all feel me? That's the truth. Okay, so today was an amazing experience. Of course, like I said, I started out with the fellowshipping at the church this morning. I actually gave a message this morning on having an in spite of faith. That means a faith that no matter what's going on around you, when your world is crumbling on you, how do you still be a person of faith? Okay. You have to check with me another time. I'll recap it for you or whatever, but not on this. Okay. I didn't come to preach tonight. Just to tell the truth. And a little while ago, I just got in from the No Hate, No Fear Solidarity Rally. This was organized, as I said, by Brandon Fish and others in the Charleston Jewish Federation, and it was held over at Synagogue Emanu-El over off of Sam Rittenberg, a beautiful facility, a space that I've been in before. I had the honor and the privilege actually of speaking from the podium there, what in the synagogue they call the bima, to speak to the crowd there in place of Brandon at his grandmother's funeral services, which was truly an honor. And then I attended his grandfather's services there also, Poppy. And tonight he was instrumental in bringing this group together. There was a packed house. Some amazing speakers, and the floor was open for all who would want to just speak. And it was the No Hate, No Fear Solidarity Rally, basically addressing the issue of hatred and the fact that in South Carolina, we're one of 4 states out of the 50 states in the United States that has no hate crime bill. In spite of what happened at Mother Emanu-El, which is a known hate crime, no hate crime bill. In spite of the fact that Representative Wendell Gilliard has presented a hate crime bill to the House in the General Assembly, to the House of Representatives in the General Assembly, 3 times. I think this is the 3rd time this year. House Bill number 3063, hate crime bill. I think this is the 3rd time that he's presented it, and before, they've done nothing. They've done nothing. As a matter of fact, Representative Gil DeKalb Hunter, even before Representative Gilliard did, before Mother Emanu-El, she introduced the legislation, and they did nothing. You see, what is there to stop hate crime if there's no deterrent to hate crime? We got all kind of laws to prevent everything else. You can't get caught with 1/10 of a gram of weed without being up under the law. Go figure. But you can go get a gun and kill people in a church and not be subject to the law in South Carolina. Fortunately, the city of Charleston passed an ordinance, okay? But this needs to be statewide legislation, just like the other 46 states in the United States have that legislation. It's time for the state of the state of South Carolina to move forward with this. But when I had a chance to talk, though, I spoke about how I understand why we're in the predicament we're in, why we're one of those 4 states that don't have it, why hate and hate crime and hate groups in South Carolina are on the rise. Because South Carolina was born, and America itself was born out of hatred. And in South Carolina, the roots of hatred run deep because they were watered by the blood of Africans who were forced here in slavery and not only murdered along the way, but that blood ran into the ground for many, many years. Blood that was fueled by racial hatred. So the roots of hatred in South Carolina run real deep. That's why we can still see down on the Battery every Sunday morning on the Battery, you see a bunch of folks out there standing with Confederate flags. Big old Confederate flags. Boldly. And that's their right to do so. And it's their right to believe that slavery, that the Confederacy was not about slavery. That's their right. You can, you have the right in America to be stupid. I said it. Anybody don't like it, get over it. That's for sure. That's my right too. It's my First Amendment right. And so as they hold that flag up, that Confederate flag up, a symbol for the majority of people. When I talk about African Americans, most African Americans believe that to be a symbol of hatred, a symbol of slavery. Many, many, many whites and other nationalities believe it to be a symbol of hatred. But because they're exercising their right, they can go stand down there on that Battery with them darn flags. Hatred sown in the ground of this place that we stand on right now here in the Low Country. So this rally was definitely focusing on the hate crime legislation that Representative Wendell Gilliard is pushing forward. Senator Sandy Senn actually talked about a bill that she's got moving forward, Senate Bill 276. I don't know. I don't think it's a companion bill to Representative Gilliard's bill, but these are things that we need to get behind, okay? We need to make sure that we are standing, not only standing, it can't be a word of mouth. This word of mouth mess has got to stop. We need some people that's getting ready to dedicate themselves to get ready to go to Columbia when Representative Gilliard is moving this bill forward. We need to take enough people up to Columbia to be able to grab the corners of that building and shake that darn building. Make them people inside wake up and tell them we tired of this foolishness. Man, a hate crime bill? What's the problem? What is the problem? But they push the same people. And I'm about to go again. The Republicans that are in there, the same people who are always pushing the legislation off to the side that's going to benefit people. When it comes to passing stronger legislation to prevent domestic violence, they water the bills down, then they send them through. Instead of strengthening them, that's what they do. When it comes to gun legislation, they refuse to pass gun. They table everything until the next session. How many years have they passed over gun legislation that just might save a life? Whether it will or it don't. If it might save a life, pass it. Pass it. Let's go. And a hate crime bill. After Mother Emanu-El, they still would not pass. Here we are 5 years later. And they still haven't passed a hate crimes bill. You know why? Because all us ain't been there. to support Representative Gilliard when he's trying to move that bill forward. It's not enough of us there to shake that building. People, it's time for us to go shake some buildings. It's time for us to decide. I know that people have a problem being able to do that, okay? I'm Pastor Dixon. I'm retired. I got some extra time on my hands. I can go up there. But there's some more people out there that got time like that too. It don't have to be just me. Other people need to decide. At least until you're sitting in your church and somebody run up in there and commence to blasting off and carrying on, talking about, I don't like black people, pow, 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 pow. Then you'd be like, oh, we need a hate crime bill. We need a hate crime bill. And come on, somebody. Let's get it done. We can do this. We must do this. We owe this to ourselves to get this done, to protect ourselves, our people. Okay? That's right. Yeah, Damon, there were some people there who have supported us in our issues. That's true. That's for sure. There was one point where one of the speakers spoke about, we were talking about education, and her being Jewish, she spoke about interjecting the Holocaust into the regular, and the necessity of interjecting the Holocaust into our regular educational curriculum. And I was sitting next to Regina Mocha, and it kind of didn't sit well with us too much that it was left at that. So when I got a chance to go to the mic, I kind of tailored my conversations, what I had to say around that a bit, because she's absolutely correct. Yes, we do need to make sure that in our schools that we are talking about the Holocaust, that it's not being glossed over or omitted from history, because it's real history. It happened. It happened. Hitler is responsible for the deaths of millions and millions of Jews, people, simply because of their racial background, their ethnicity. Okay? But that's not all that needs to go into our books. Until the children not only learn about the Holocaust, until the children learn about the atrocities of slavery that were imposed in America on the black man, until our children learn about the genocidal extermination of the red man, until our children learn about the prison camp internment of the yellow man in America, until our children learn about all of the terrible things that have happened at the hands of others because of people's color in America, then our children only getting a lopsided understanding of history, and they're only learning a lopsided relationship with one another, a relationship that favors some while overlooking others. So our educational system needs to be revamped, and it needs to be revamped quickly if we hope to generate a generation of children that don't have biases. Right now, the educational system that we have is putting biases on us. And if we would get beyond all of this craziness, the school choice stuff, drop that. All this other stuff that we're arguing about, or we have to go to the darn school board about everything. This craziness about first student coming in for this extra money that they want to spend for school buses, when it's apparently, it's my understanding that Durham's been doing pretty good since we got on them a few years ago. But all of these side issues, when we need to be focusing on the education of the children, and one of the main issues we have is teaching children the truth in the classroom of American history, instead of lying to them and presenting white children opportunities to grow up with privilege, and children of color and black children to grow up with low self-esteem, because we don't have any heroes represented in them. In the history books lie to protect the whiteness of history. Indeed, it's tight, but it's right. While the achievements of blacks are significantly omitted from the history books. The atrocities perpetrated by whites historically, from Africa to America, from inside of Africa to America, and other places, are omitted from the history books in order to make a certain segment of the population, the white population, feel really good about themselves, and their children grow up to feel really good about their history. while everyone else's history, the atrocities that were perpetrated against the black man, the red man, and the yellow man, and the brown man in America are being left out. That ain't right, y'all. And then we want to talk about racial bias. Why are hate groups on the rise? Well, we taught them hate. We taught them hate. We didn't tell them the truth in grade school from early on, you know. And maybe our school board and our school district can get to that if they quit taking these side ventures that, in my opinion, might be based on personal gain and an agenda that the community is not being made aware of. My opinion. You ain't got to like it. It's my First Amendment right. Okay? It makes no sense, though. But if we could just get back to those things, if we could get back to establishing a full-time, regular curriculum within the school district dealing with conflict resolution, so our children will learn from second grade, third grade, how to resolve conflict instead of picking up a gun, how to resolve conflict without resorting to a fight, how to resolve conflict without cussing up. And we can have some parents, some of the all adults on this line sit in on that class, that's for sure. That's for sure. Because it's time for us to learn how to live in peace, because I'm tired of t-shirts that say rest in peace. How about you? You should be. It's insane that we have the amount of arguing, fussing, fighting, killing, cutting, shooting going on in our communities. It's crazy. And for what? For what? We got crews fighting over a piece of ground they don't even own. They don't even own. They fighting over a block they don't even own. Selling dope to the kids. Killing our own self. Ain't no need in having no Ku Klux Klan today. Why? When we doing a good job of it ourselves. We lynching our own people. We were taught that. We were trained to do that. And we are foolishly followed along in that vein. It's time to change that. It's time to understand that voting is our responsibility. And that if we at least try it and see if it'll work, maybe it will. But as long as we keep making excuses, we don't make no excuses for going to the club when it's free before 7 o'clock. Free drinks before 7. We up in the club. Maybe we need to start doing that on voting day. Free drinks before 7 p.m. at the polls. We'd have people all out the doors at every election then. But don't we understand that our life and our lifestyles, our communities, the lives of our children, their education, how we get paid, our wages, all of the things that are important for us are all wrapped up in that little ballot, that little thing we call the vote? And the only thing we're going to get at the club is a free drink that was tomorrow morning. We're just going to wake up sick looking for another one. Come on, people. It's about time to turn this thing around. But the event today was really amazing. The conversation afterward was about continuing to meet without being in the aftermath of something. So that we begin to continue to grow our relationships with one another. We must grow our relationships with one another. We must learn how to respect one another and how to love one another. It's just that simple. I closed my speech, which was only a couple of minutes, by referring to a man who was not the national Martin Luther King Jr., but was the Low Country equivalent of the great civil rights leader. And his name was Esau Jenkins. His grandchildren are on the line, 2 of them. Abe and Demet are on the line. And I close with his quote. And his quote makes so much sense to me. He said, and he had it on the back of his Volkswagen bus. Okay, for those of you who all know automobile history, the VW bus that he and his wife Janie drove around in order to transport people to and from work and to get them to where they could learn about how to pass the voting test in order to vote. But on the back panel of the bus, it was written these words. It says, "Love is progress, hate is expensive." And that's true. That's true. The problem is the progress of being real people who really love one another has been stalled over time. And it's time for us to rekindle that fire of love and care and concern for one another. It's the kind of love and care and concern that will not allow hate crimes to exist, because we'll do anything that we can to pass legislation to stop hate crimes. It's the kind of love that will motivate legislators to pass legislation that's going to reduce gun violence in our communities. It's the kind of love that says it's not right for somebody to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to try to make one salary to live off of. It's the kind of love that says I have the ability to give people a quality public education, so I'm going to focus my efforts on the public education, and all other options I'm not even going to bring them to the table. It's the kind of love that says that if anyone, no matter how old they are one paycheck away from dying because they can't afford health care, we need to do something about health care. That's the kind of love that's progress when we apply that kind of love. But hate, because if you look at all the things that I just said, when those things are not taken care of, when people are not taken care of, it's expensive for everybody, from the individual to our society. And we have to stop that. We have to turn that around. And we have the ability to do that. So, moving forward, in closing, and I thank everybody. It's so many people on tonight, man. You all are amazing. I'm going to look forward to going back, reading over all of the comments and everything. So many great people on here. Man, I love you all. I love you all, for sure. Wow, Faden Santana in the house. My brother, for sure. So, moving forward, okay, tomorrow is going to be the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. It's going to be their Monday March, okay, the Monday Moral March, okay. I'm going to have to read some of this, okay. Participants, it's the Moral Monday March and mass meeting tomorrow in North Charleston. Participants will be able to park and to meet at 5 o'clock p.m. at Fresh Future Farms. You all know Jermaine Jenkins' place. 2008 Success Street in North Charleston. That's where parking is, and that's where the meeting's going to be at, where the gathering is going to be at. And there'll be a short march from there over to, I think the march is going to be over to St. Matthew's for a mass meeting that's going to start at 6. So it gathers at 5, at 5 for the march, and then the mass meeting will be at 6 o'clock p.m. At the meeting, people who are directly impacted, and I'm reading up about from their scenario, impacted by systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, militarism, and the war economy, and the corrupt moral narrative, will share their stories. By that, I guess that could be like everybody that I know is on the speaking platform. I know. But many of you are familiar with the Reverend William Barber, head of the Moral Monday movement, and now co-chairs of the Poor People's Campaign, along with the Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, or something like that. Please forgive me if I just obliterated that name. They will both be in the house tomorrow. Okay, so it's going to be well worth it. Anybody who's ever heard Reverend Barber speak or knows of the work that he's put in knows that he is the preeminent civil rights leader of the 21st century. Reverend William Barber gets all of the props from me, because if there's anybody out here trying to drive the bus of civil rights, he is that one. Okay. So he will be in North Charleston tomorrow evening. So please join in. If you're not going to the inaugural events tomorrow in the city of Charleston, we need people to come out and get in the streets, okay? Get in the streets. Make the march. Come for the mass rally. Mass rally don't have no 6 people at it. Y'all feel me? Don't have no 30 people at it. Mass. That means everybody can come out, come on out. Be there. This is important. It's about the poor people's campaign. And they're actually building capacity because in June of this year, they're going to have a mass rally, preferably, hopefully, hundreds of thousands of people in Washington, D.C., championing the issues that matter to us as poor people, people who live in poverty, okay? So please come out tomorrow, support Reverend Barber, Reverend Theo Harris, Reverend Liz. I'm going to call her Reverend Liz from now on. Just come out and support Reverend Liz. The Poor People's Campaign. It's the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. Tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, meeting at Fresh Future Farms. Going from there, I think, over to St. Matthews for a 6 o'clock mass rally. That's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then make some noise, get involved. The other thing I want to talk about in closing is going to be the coalition's 7th annual Martin Luther King Day rally following the City of Charleston parade on Monday, January 20th, King Day. We will be meeting once again in Marion Square immediately following the parade. We've got a series of speakers. This year we're going to be talking about public education. We're going to be talking about labor issues, gun violence, and then we're going to have a special tribute again this year. This ain't going to be one of them just, one of them little lightweight speakers and whatever. No, we gonna fire up some folks down there tonight. I mean, on the 20th for sure. But we need you to be there in order to get this thing cracking. Okay, we need for you to be there on Monday the 20th in order to get this thing cracking. We're going to raise the roof down there. Fight for 15 is already fired up, for sure. I saw them before when they came and they set it off at the Blue Jamboree. Yes, sir. Firing people up. Because once the 20th of January passes, it's not back to business as usual, people. It's time for us to drive this ship right on. I said it earlier. City of North Charleston, I might not have won the election, but that don't mean we ain't getting ready to push for $15 an hour pay. No. Just because Dixon ain't in the mayor's seat don't mean Dixon going to stop, and Dixon's asking everybody to stand with me as we push for it. $15 an hour. And I ain't talking about incremental. When the mayor swore in last Tuesday, and last year when the council approved him for a $17,000 raise, when he swore in yesterday, he got $17,000 for swearing in, not incrementally. So I'll be darned if the people in the city of North Charleston need to do anything incremental. They did the city employees incremental increases to get up to $15 an hour over a 2-year period. But the top guy gets his all in lump sum. Come on, somebody. That ain't right. And we're smart enough to know to bring people to the table, all of our businesses to the table, so that we don't do anything that's going to hurt small business, but actually will enrich small business. And there's a way to do it. And for those naysayers that talk about other cities that are faltering or whatever, then you need to do your research. Stop looking at them darn sites where them Republicans point you to. Tell you, oh, it don't work, it don't work. When there are countless number of examples of where $15 an hour did work because the people were smart enough, same people who can change out hearts and everything and build rocket ships, we're capable of figuring out how to pay people $15 an hour at a time when we should be paying them $25 an hour. You feel me? Okay, so please join us January 30th, about 1:30, right after the parade. Please come to the parade too, and then hang out for the day. We're going to have, I'll post it up again. I'm updating the list of supporters. Man, we got some of the greatest people. We got local candidates that are running for office this year that's going to be out there tabling. We got presidential candidates that are supporting us. We got local organizations, everything from mentoring groups to different chefs, all different kind of people that's supporting us. Some will be there actually tabling, others won't. There'll be no sales though, nothing for sale. It's not authorized under our permit. Please, I'm gonna have more information coming out. Follow me, follow my pages, keep track of what's happening. Okay, we need you to tell other people and to bring other people to Marion Square 1 week from tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. and let's get it cracking. Okay, for sure. We're gonna make some noise. We're gonna show people just how much we care about our community. And if you don't care, stay at home. But if you don't care, and I know you don't care, man, don't be calling me talking about I need this or they doing this, that, and the other to me or whatever. No, I'm looking for people that care about what's happening to the community. Those are the people that I'm more than willing at any time to help out. Scripture says that not the scripture, but the code word, the secret word is that when you know good, when you know to do better, you do better. Okay? And I'm trying to set up a way so we can all do better. And this rally is one. It's going to be the kickoff for 2020. Okay? So, with that being said, again, I want to thank everybody that jumped on. Man, it's a whole lot of folks here, for sure. You all are just amazing, man. And I love everybody that's on here, for sure. Not only keep praying, but keep hoping. Keep hope alive. Jesse said that. It's still as good today as when he first said it. Don't give up. I'm not going to give up on any of you. Even those that I just said I wouldn't help. Y'all know I'm going to help you. That's what I do. If you got issues, all you got to do is get in touch with me. I'm going to try my best to help you. But I'm only one person. If everyone that's on this live reached out to one more person, and every one of those people reached out to one more person, we'd have an army of people that are ready to help one another in order to succeed in this world. We'd have an army of people that would be ready to stand against those forces that oppose us when we talk about education for our children, when we talk about public transportation, when we talk about ending gun violence, when we talk about people getting paid a decent wage, when we talk about health care that you can afford, when we talk about workers' rights on their jobs and not being abused on their jobs. When we talk about those things, we will have enough people available at any given time to tell those people that stand against us, man, y'all get the hell out the way. Y'all forgive me, I said it. Now I know it's time for me to go. Y'all take care. I love you all more than you all know. Take care and let's do this thing. Welcome to the revolution. Peace.